So now we're going to talk about vinyl, and maybe so that my heat press doesn't keep getting mad at me, I'm going to use that one first. This one is actually regular vinyl. It's one of our old, I don't know if we sell this color anymore. I don't think so. But it's a D-ring, and it's for my kids' school. This one is for Ariana. But anyway, I'll get back to this one. What we're going to do first is the heat press one. And so any of the stuff that I'm showing you today, you can do cut with your Cricut, any vinyl. And I'll tell you, where I got my information was actually from the Cricut website. I showed you a picture of this album. Okay, this is our glitter iron-on vinyl that we sell. We actually sell this, or you can buy it from Cricut. I'm a Cricut affiliate. Did you know that? That's pretty cool. So that means that I can get a commission from any purchases that you make on Cricut.com. Woohoo! So this one I just have done the front, and I plan to put the date on the side here. I just haven't done that yet. But this is Jonathan's first Christmas with us. I don't have any pictures in it yet, although I'm still picking them. I took so many. This is an everyday life album. It's kind of squishy, but it's a faux leather. So what I did is these are my people promo album that I showed you at the beginning. This kit, this part of the kit is one of the prizes. This is my album. So this is one of the little images that you can buy, that you can get as part of the bundle, or you can purchase it on your own. So you would cut it out with your Cricut. This is iron-on. So the difference between iron-on and regular vinyl is that the sticky part is actually the backing. And when you cut vinyl, iron-on vinyl with your Cricut, you need to make sure that the shiny side is down and that you cut your image in a mirror with the mirror. Now, the other part that you need to do is weed out all the extra vinyl. So I've done the big part here, and there are a few from little spots in the interior there that we're showing that need to be weeded out and taken away. So these are tweezers I just got with some other vinyl that I bought. And so we just find the little bits here and we pull out the middle. And if your Cricut is cutting properly, it's really quite simple to pull that out. I'm just making sure that I'm getting it. And I'm finding it is a really fun way to decorate your albums so that you don't, especially if you have albums that are all the same, like I tend to have, like my kids, for example, they're all going to have that same blue album for their school stuff. So now we have the whole thing is all ready to go. Now I have the Cricut Heat Pad. I probably don't need it quite so much with this. What you don't want to do is allow the surface of your Easy Press to come into contact with your album. So this is a special protective thing that I bought from Cricut that I've heard that parchment paper works as well. So we're going to open up our album and lay it down so that this is a binder, so this is over on the side. Then I am going to place my words where I want them. I want them in the middle. No, I like it kind of a little bit up. And I'm going to press it down just so it doesn't move. Now, my Easy Press, I have the first one, has already been set to 280 for 30 seconds. Now, I just realized I should preheat this a little bit. So I'm going to take this off. Oopsies. I'm going to put this on, and I'm just going to lay this on here for a second just to heat it up a little bit. It goes fairly quickly. So I'm going to take that off, and you need to be careful because that gets super hot. We're going to lay that down. I'm going to put my Easy Press down so it's not in my... So there is a website that Cricut has. It's a heat guide, and you can just plug in what materials you're using. Do I have that straight? I don't think it's straight. See, no rush, just because I heated it up, it's still warm. You can very easily figure out, you would put in what your surface is, what machine you're using, the heat press, which kind of heat press, do you have a mat, what kind of material you're putting it on, what kind of vinyl you're using. It's all there. You just plug it in and then they just tell you what to do. It's super easy. So mine says 280 for 30 seconds. So I'm going to put this on and I'm going to hit my green Cricut button and you'll see it's counting down. And I'm just going to sit here for 30 seconds while I'm giving it some light pressure. And it will beep at me when the time is done. So you don't even have to pay attention, which is pretty awesome. So the website spit out that temperature and the time. And if I was doing a piece of fabric or something, or a t-shirt, I would have to heat the back as well. There we go. We're done. And now, since that's the only stuff I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take that off. Careful not to touch the hot part. I'm going to turn off my heat press. But this actually needs to cool a little bit. So I'm going to move that aside and then I'll show you what happens after that. So remove that aside, and I'm going to move this side because I don't need it anymore. Alright, so now I have another album. This is my son's, Nathaniel's. And since their albums look exactly the same, I'm going to put the same title on. And for this, I actually used a bunch of different pieces of vinyl. Now this is regular permanent adhesive vinyl. And it's got, I'm trying to remember what, oh, hold on a second. That's right. Okay. I was going to show you, I'm going to move this for a minute. I set all this up a while ago, so, and I'm going to sit down so that we can see. So the idea is, again, this is regular vinyl. So here's, before I said that the backing of the iron-on vinyl was really sticky. With this, it's not sticky at all. It's the vinyl that's super sticky. And so in order to get, this is the way you cut it. You cut it with the, you cut it regularly. You don't have to mirror it. You put it straight up and the Cricut will cut into it. It knows what setting, it knows not to go back through the tape. But in order to get this on the album, you need to be able to take this whole thing off. So that's where transfer tape comes in. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get it off the backing. And I will often go like, just grab the corner. There it comes. Alright, so now what we want to do is make sure that we don't have any bubbles when we put this down. It doesn't have to match exactly. Like you can see, it's kind of going over the edge. As long as you have all of the pieces of your image on the transfer tape, you're good. Okay? So it's actually even stuck to my desk, which is fine. Alright, let me know if you have any questions because I'm talking fast. So the next thing is you need to burnish your image so that it actually picks up off the carrier sheet and onto the transfer tape. And you do this with the spatula and you just go back and forth. And actually, if you hold it a certain way, you can see that the light changes. So you see that there's some like, almost looks like it's a lighter, it's bubbly, that hasn't been burnished yet. This is much more solid and has been done. So it's sticking to the transfer tape. Sort of like how we notice how ink transfers to a stamp when you're stamping. Same kind of idea, I guess. So obviously the quickest and easiest way to do vinyl on an album is the iron-on, but you might not have an easy press. You might not have all of that stuff. This stuff is pretty easy, and you can get transfer tape from Cricut.com or Michael's. They sell them in rolls or in big sheets, like 12 by 12 sheets is how I got mine. And then all we do is remove the image, making sure that it's coming away from the carrier sheet easily and nicely, especially when images are small like the numbers on my clock. I want to make sure that it works really well. All right, so now this is all sticky. Everything's sticky. Okay, so I'm going to get my album back, and we're going to place this on my album. I'm going to stand up again. And again, we don't want to have any bubbles or anything like that. And I think I'm going to put this one right in the middle, as straight as we can. So I'm just gonna kind of roll it down so that if I were to put it flat, see, there's some bubbles. And we'll work on that after, because it's now stuck. I wasn't careful enough. It might work. I think it'll work itself out just fine. Yeah, it's okay. So it will stick probably, but not really well. So we need to go back and we need to burnish this again. So you'll notice that I have this big space here. That's because I have other pieces of this image to put on, and you can't do it. Sorry, my thing is all moving underneath me. You can't do it at the same time. I did actually look into whether I could put the apples on the same layer as this, but it didn't work. In that, could I take the apples and just apply it to the same transfer tape as the school days part, and it didn't work. Didn't stick. Yeah, it was a mess. So you do have to do each layer one at a time, which means that if you're doing more than one color, that can take some time, more than just the iron on, although you can iron on layers as well. All right, let's take a look. So this is where it's going to be a bit trickier. Let's start from this side here. What you want to do is make sure that your transfer tape is close. I'm not holding it straight up. I hope you can see that. I'm not pulling it up. I'm pulling it across the image so that there's less pull on the actual image. Obviously the vinyl that I want to stay on my album. But look how easy that is. Now I will tell you, the clock was a pain in the butt to weed to get all the extra vinyl out of, so that's why I didn't do it here on screen, because I didn't really want you to have to watch that, because it took a while. And the vinyl, the little tiny pieces of vinyl would come off the backing, the carrier sheet, quite easily. But I just worked with them and made them, put them back in. I used this little point to push down on the little pieces that I needed to stay. And as long as you're careful, and you can even like cut your vinyl and tear pieces off that are done. But look at how nicely those are coming off now. Okay, look at that. Done. So that is how you do that part. Now, I realized I didn't actually get any of these other pieces ready. I don't think I'm going to need to show you those. You know, it's basically the same idea. So what I would do with my apples, so this is my apples. I should show you how easy it is to weed this stuff. So I pull up at the corner. As long as your Cricut has cut it properly. And if, okay, so do you see what happened there? I had my whole piece come up. That's okay. It's supposed to be able to come off of this easily. So I just used my finger on the cut and coaxed it to stay. Oops, I dropped it. I coaxed it to stay, and there we go. Now my transfer tape is ready. Actually, it goes this way. So that'll go on there. Then I have these little white guys. They'll go on there, and I have the leaves. And that's how we do it. So I'm not going to bore you with the rest of that. It is pretty cool, Linda. And thank you, Bev. I'm glad it does look great. It's a lot of fun once it's all put together. So I'll show you that finished one, because this is, yeah, you guys need to get back to your crafting. You don't want to watch me make another one. So there's the apples all put together. And again, you can easily put this stuff on the spine, although with the binder idea, like this is a D-ring, so it would be a little bit more difficult. But a post bound, you just pull the post cover right out and it's a nice flat surface. So no problem at all to add stuff. My plan is to put their name on here instead of using these label holders, because those come off fairly easily. So yeah, it's quite easy to do. And this image that I'm using right here is actually one that we sell. It's an SVG that we sell, and you can find that on our website. So yes, it is super fun. I'm glad that I started doing this. It's a great way to dress up your albums a little bit. All right, now I haven't shown you this one. It's all nice and cool. So just like the other vinyl, it's going to come off the same way, like butter. There we go. Done. Now this is the iron-on. So this actually is like the rose gold metallic. Very pretty. It's like, I think it's my favorite one. We sell this kind too. There is my good times. It's done for these are my people. And I'm going to have some great photos of my family and my friends and even my crafting buddies and all that in here. And so yeah, if you have, so here's the one thing. If you have our old linen style albums, the ones that were patterned and stuff like that, that had the protective coating, they do not work. You cannot put vinyl on them. The regular vinyl doesn't stick, and I think, I haven't tried the iron-on, but I believe the iron-on might actually, like the heat of the heat press might actually ruin it, the cover. So I wouldn't suggest trying those, but these ones work great. Fabric, like regular fabric albums, absolutely, as long as there is not a coating on it, like a waxy coating. That is what our linen albums had. But yes, absolutely, you can do other fabrics, no problem. The iron-on would definitely work, would be the better option. Yeah, so I hope you have some fun with it.